Hello friends, as you can tell by today's title, we are doing a 24-hour readathon. Yeah, we're attempting it, okay? I know I asked on my community page a couple weeks ago at this point what you guys wanted to see, and it was a really big toss-up between a 24-hour reading challenge and what I realistically read in a week as a 9 to 5 girl. I know like it was a pretty even split between both of them, and then like at the last minute it became like what I read in a week was what won, which I planned to do it and then forgot. It was like maybe like Tuesday or Wednesday during the week I had planned to do it, and I realized I had completely forgotten to record myself reading, and by that point it was like I can't do it anymore, and now I'm actually off for an entire week. I took an entire week off from work, so that one won't be able to be done until after this video, so probably next week. So I figured I'd go ahead and grace us all with a 24-hour reading challenge. Now I know there's a couple different ways that people do it, where they do 2 12-hour days, I believe, or they do like a full 24 hours, no sleep, they go hard and then read the entire time. I'm gonna do neither one of those. Okay, I'm gonna do 24 hours, just like starting from 12 o'clock today and ending 12 o'clock tomorrow, and see how much I can actually get done during that time, or how much I actually read during that time. And I'll of course be using a timer and just timing whenever I'm actually reading, and when I'm not reading I'll take like a little break and turn the timer off. Plenty of people have done it this way too as well, so I'm not creating anything new, but that is the way that I have planned to do it. And hopefully there will be no failure that way, because it's just seeing how much I can actually read when I sit down for a full 24 hours and like don't do anything else, truly. So I've had kind of like a plan of what books I want to read. I actually don't have too many romantasy books on my TBR today because I'm doing a couple of separate videos for those books. A little hint is that I'm currently waiting for Iron Flame on my Libby app. I started 27th last week when it came out, and now I'm like 4th in line. Every morning I'm literally checking my Libby app to see if it's my turn yet. So that's gonna be in a separate video because I don't really want to sprint through that. I'm gonna take my time and do like a whole separate video for Iron Flame. And then also I am currently reading the Throne of Glass series, so I know I'm going to read The Assassin's Blade during this 24 hours. It's just whether or not I'm going to read it on my Kindle or if I'm actually going to go to Target and get the book. I do have, I think we talked about this in my last video, I do have like a good portion of the series right here, but if you saw my last video, you know why I don't have the Assassin's Blade book. So I'm trying to decide whether or not I'm just going to read it on my Kindle or just go and get it at Target. But I know myself that if I read it on my Kindle, I'm never going to buy the actual physical copy because it just doesn't make sense to me to have already read the book and then buy it. So really trying to decide, because I do want to have the full completed series in physical form. But like, let me not lie, because I did read Heartstopper on my Kindle and then I did end up buying the books, okay? So sometimes I do break my own rules here, but that is another book. Well, yeah, though that is a book that I am going to read for this video at some point, just not the first book. But I do have another little list of all of the books that I do have planned to read for this video. And at one point when I planned this video, probably a week and a half ago at this point, I had planned to read Crowd of Midnight, or finish reading Crowd of Midnight in this video, but I actually already finished that book, so I gotta find a new one. But another book that I do have like quite a few. They're like, I'm not gonna be crazy with it, and I do like, as I'm looking at this now, every single book that's on this list is a Kindle book. So I do think I probably should pick up a book from my physical TBR at some point. But a lot of the books on my physical TBR, I'm like giving you a whole insight into like my planning thought process for this channel. But a lot of the books that are on my physical TBR, are books that I've like half read or DNF'd halfway through. And I do want to do a whole separate video of finishing books I've DNF'd, so I don't really know. And then there are also books that are on my winter TBR, which are not there yet. We're in that weird limbo between Halloween and Christmas, or really Halloween and Thanksgiving, because I try to decorate for Christmas after Thanksgiving, so I'm really just chugging along until Thanksgiving comes so I can put up those Christmas decorations. So I'm in that weird limbo where I can't really justify reading my winter TBR yet, and I need to try to finish my fall TBR. The thing about that is my fall TBR has Crooked Kingdom on it, and it also has The Secret History in Babel. I already know I'm not going to finish either of those books in 24 hours, and if I was to attempt reading those books during this 24-hour challenge, this video would quite literally just be me reading one of those books. Like it's going to take me the whole 24 hours to read it, and that doesn't seem really fun for you or me, so we're not even going to mess with that, okay? Unfortunately, it just doesn't seem like those are getting read this fall, to be honest. It's being pushed yet another season into winter, and then probably into spring, but we'll keep hopes alive that I do finish it in winter. So for the actual planned TBR that I have for this video is, of course, I want to finish The Perks of Being a Wallflower. I started it probably 2 weeks ago just for, I don't know, I was in the mood to read something that would make me a little sad. So I went ahead and picked that up on my Kindle, and I'm thinking I'm about 30% into that book, so I definitely think I could finish reading that in this video quite early on, because it is a fairly short book and it's very simple in its writing. It's not very complex and hard to get through. So that's the first book that I think I'm going to try to finish in this video. And then after that, I'm going to do Solitaire by Alice Oseman, I believe is how you pronounce her last name. She is the author of Heartstopper series, and I've just been like rereading that series and then also reading all of the other companion novels to the Heartstopper universe, I guess. And I haven't read Solitaire yet. So that is one that I'm really hoping to read during this video. I also want to get through This Winter, which is another Alice Oseman. I don't know why I find it so hard to say that, but I do want to read This Winter by her, which is just, I believe, the actual novella for Heartstopper, or it's the novella of Solitaire, but they're all kind of the same, you know? And then also I do want to finish reading Heartstopper Volume 3. I've already read it, but I had started doing my reread of the entire series, and I already finished the first two, so naturally I'd go on to the third one. And I think that one's going to be more of a quick and easy one once I get tired of reading. It'll be a quick and easy one to just like look at pictures, honestly. So that is one that I'm also going to do. And then, as I mentioned, The Assassin's Blade. Now, I'm kind of feeling like we could jazz it up a bit more, this TBR. And we all know I'm a mood reader, so this might very well change. I might start this and be like, I'm feeling something a little less Alice Oseman. So I'm noticing now it is a very heavy on the Alice Oseman, which I don't feel bad about. I actually quite love that, but I'm thinking I might want to pick up something different. Different choices could be, oh, actually this is a really good choice. I've been wanting to read Red Queen. I don't even know if you can see that, but I've been wanting to read this book for so long, and I think I've talked about this so many times. I'm just in love with the size of this book. So actually, I think I might actually attempt to read this one too, because I think I have the audiobook for it on my Libby app, so I could do both if I like get tired of reading and I need someone to read it to me and read the page, if that makes sense. So actually, I think I am going to add this because I am in a fantasy mood and I do want to finally get through this book. Okay, yeah, actually, that was kind of a serve. That was actually quite easy for me to decide. So that is going to be probably my one physical book if I don't get Assassin's Blade, but I don't know. I'm kind of feeling getting Assassin's Blade, but we have to be a mature adult here and not continuously spend my money on books. But it kind of feels like I deserve a treat, and that treat could be a book. So we'll see, we'll decide. But yes, so I have planned to start I plan to start my readathon at 12 o'clock and it's already 12:03. So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and light my candles, get comfy in the bed, and start reading. I'm very excited about that. Very, very excited about that. But I won't be reading it today. However, like I said, I'm off all week. So best believe that will be read this week. Ow! And my ears pierced for my birthday with my mom. So that kind of hurt. But I will be reading that this week. That will be read this week. I'm very happy about that. Anywho, it's 12:14, so I could start this at 12:15, which is probably what I should do, but I still have like a little bit of antsiness in me to watch more TikTok videos, so I could start that. It's already 12:15. Should I start now or at 12:30? I think 12:30 just feels like a nicer number to start on, so I'm gonna start at 12:30, but I had to let you guys know that Iron Flame is now in my position. So anywho, I guess I could start now, because there is a trap that I get into with TikTok where I start and then I say I'm only gonna be on it for 10 minutes and then it's turned into 2 hours. So maybe I should just start right now. I'm going to be doing the timer on my iPad because I'm very nervous about messing up the timer on my phone. So I'm going to be an iPad kid for a little while, for actually the next 24 hours. Okay. Oh, it's 12:16. Gotta wait until 12:30 now. Okay, bye. Ignore how dirty that mirror is, but I am now about 2.5 hours into the challenge, and I'm about just shy of 2 hours left in the perks of being a wallflower. I'm 62% of the way through it and I'm really enjoying it. It's so good, and I think that's just something really nice about reading your own thoughts on, I mean, I guess not paper because I'm reading it on Kindle, but like reading your thoughts written out by somebody else, which is really nice. And if you haven't read this book before or seen the movie, I've seen the movie a lot, like right when it first came out, probably, I don't know, I want to say it almost came out 10 years ago at this point, maybe 8 years ago. It came out a while ago, but I remember when I first watched the movie, I loved it and I didn't really understand it, and then years later I finally understood it. And then like you said, a couple weeks ago I wanted to read it. But if you don't know, it's about Charlie, who is the youngest, I believe, in his family, and basically he's writing letters to this anonymous person as an anonymous person. Well, not really anonymous, but like changing the names and whatnot of the people he's writing about. And it's about basically how he's coming to terms with a lot of grief and the issues he faces, like connecting with not only his family, his friends, but also like with himself, to understand why he has such a hard time dealing with actually just being alive, honestly. And I think a really good quote that was said in the book by one of his friends was like, wow, you really just think a lot. And he does. He does think a lot, and it's kind of nice because as someone who also thinks a lot, it's nice to see the thoughts of it on paper, or you know, whatever. But yeah, like I said, I have about an hour and 48 minutes left according to my speed on my Kindle to finish reading this, but I am also getting a bit tired. So I have like a FaceTime call that I'm gonna do with my best friend who lives in Chicago. So I'm gonna talk to her probably around 5 or maybe a little later, so like in about 2 hours, because it's 3 o'clock right now. So I think what I'm gonna do is try to finish this book, and then when I talk to her, I think I'm gonna end up going to Target. Yeah, I think I want the physical book. So, and I think I can price match it. So if I can price match it, then I'm going to price match and get it. And if I can't price match it, then maybe I won't get it. But I'll do that, because also I just need to run some quick errands, and I think that'll, you know, judge it up a little bit. I don't know. Give me some energy or something to look forward to. But I am getting a little sleepy, so I think I might either drink some of my Alani that I started drinking yesterday, or make a coffee and save the Alani for later on tonight. I know I said that I wasn't going to like stay up late or like stay up for the full 24 hours, but I do want to see how late I can make it. Like, I want to try to get as much reading done as possible in 24 hours, and I have been trying not to take as many breaks because I really do want to be done by 12 o'clock tomorrow. So like, I'm shooting to be done by 12:30 tomorrow, but I am still doing like the 24 hours, so hopefully we stay on track here. But also, I forgot to mention earlier that in the moments I like, when of course I like ate lunch already, and I just read while I ate lunch, it wasn't anything hard that I had to make. I literally ate ramen noodles. So while that was easy, but for dinner I'll probably end up making dinner, so it'll be a little more challenging to read a Kindle while doing that. So I'll probably try to finish my audiobook that I've been reading or listening to, which is A Court of Mist and Fury, the graphic audios version. So yeah. Unfortunately, I will be reading that, or I could actually, which is something I probably should do now to think about it, is start the audiobook for Red Queen. That actually sounds like a much more, like, that sounds like something I should do and not reread or re-listen to something I've already read. So I think I might either do one of those, and then also I'll listen to that while I'm like doing my errands at Target and driving and whatnot. So hopefully this stays on track. I do know, like, with that hour of having FaceTime time, it's gonna be a little off for tomorrow, but whatever. So yes, I'm gonna try to finish this book now because I'm ready to be done with it. I'm enjoying it, don't worry, I am enjoying it, but I think I'm ready to do something different, which is why it's kind of difficult to commit to a whole 24 hours of reading, because I am a very antsy person. Like, I'm not, but I am. Like, once I get something in my head to do, I want to immediately do that instead. So anywho, yes, we're gonna get back to reading now. Yes, it's a bit later now. I like say that every single time I turn on the camera, but it truly is. As you can tell, it's much darker in my room now. And that would be because it's about 7 o'clock on the dot. And I finished my book about an hour ago, but like I said earlier, I had a little FaceTime catch up with my friend, so I did that with her and now I'm off with it. And we are unfortunately only 4.5 hours into this challenge and I'm getting nervous. I am getting nervous. I know the goal was just to see how much I can read between the hours of 12:30 today and 12:30 tomorrow, but there's like also the competitiveness in me that's like, no, I want to do the full 24 hours. But at this point, with the whole hour-and-a-half shift, because I was on the phone for a while, I'm not going to finish until like 1:30 in theory. But you know, it's kind of like I gotta choose one or the other. Truly, it's a point. I gotta choose to either do 24 hours or do like the full 24 hours, if that makes sense. But anywho, I did just finish The Perks of Being a Wallflower, and I don't know if you can tell, but my makeup, my little mascara, is definitely smudged underneath my eyes. I did cry, and I felt weird about noticing that I was welling up and whipping out the camera and putting it in my face and finishing the book and reading and then crying. It just felt too weird for me. So I didn't, but I did cry. And I think it's really just because I enjoy how earnest Charlie is in his, I don't know, like he just, it's just very hard to articulate how I kind of love him so much, because he's just so empathetic and he's just so, it's empathetic to a fault, where he's just so wondering and thinking and constantly putting the thoughts and feelings of others above his own. And so he's just always wanting to know more and more and more about the world, the situation, and is just so much into picking the brains of other people, like even strangers, that he'll just follow them around the mall. Or there's scenes where he was talking about he would just go to the mall and just wonder why people go to the mall, and so he would just sit there and people watch and like try to understand situations and understand why people are the way they are. And it's just such an interesting headspace to have to be in consistently, to constantly have thoughts in your brain. And it's just something that I feel like it was getting to me obviously towards the end when I started crying, because it's just so incredible how so many people are in this world and so many people live so many different lives, and yet you still are able to find people who live the exact same life as you. And it's just really nice to like have that connection with a complete stranger. And I think that's what was searching for. And then of course when you get to the end of the book, you really understand like why his brain works the way it does and why he was searching for a connection anywhere that he could find. And you understand more and more like exactly his character, and I don't want to spoil it for you, so I don't want to say it, but I will say definitely check the content warnings before you read it, because like I mentioned earlier, I think I mentioned it earlier, that when I watched this movie when I was probably a freshman or a sophomore in high school, it was like my friend groups and I's like favorite movie to watch. We watched it all the time, and like people, and I don't know, like I like loved it because I liked the found family in it, and I enjoyed that he like found his friend groups and how understood and sensitive his friends were to him. But as I got older, like literally in college, probably 2 years ago, I finally realized what the actual story was about. And I was like, shut up. I was like, shut up. I did not know that. I don't know, like, and I'm so incredibly blessed and thankful that that's something that I didn't catch on to when I was a kid, because I didn't understand that those things were happening. But now it's like, of course, as I'm older and I understand like the nuances and the difficulties of these types of situations, I'm incredibly moved, honestly, by how touching the story is. And I do think it's probably one of my new favorite books. If you haven't read it, like I said, definitely check the content warnings first. But the way it's written has such a child's naivety to it, but with so much adult understanding. And it kind of is heartbreaking because there's no reason why
a child should have such an understanding of adult things. But I don't know, I could like rant and rave about this book forever, but I definitely enjoyed it. It was a very quick read, and it makes me so emotional just thinking about it because it's just really good. It's really good, and if you enjoyed the movie, because the movie itself is also just actually a really good movie, you would also enjoy the book a lot too. So with that being said, I think I want to read something a little more upbeat as I wait for my mother has taken the car, which is totally fine, it's hers, but she's out on an excursion right now and I'm hungry and we have food but nothing that I really want to eat, and everything is kind of like either frozen or needs to be. We are an ingredient household. I don't know how else to better explain that. We are an ingredient household. We're not very much a snack household. So, and I'm not in the mood for it to be an ingredient household, to be honest. So I think when she comes back, I'm going to use that as an excuse to go to Target and see if Assassin's Blade is still there, because when I checked this morning, there was one left in stock at my closest Target, and I could go to another one, but that one's like 20 minutes away. I don't exactly feel like doing that, so I'll go there. We also just need some other things for the house, but while I'm there, I'll definitely like listen to my audiobook. But in the meantime, as I wait for that excursion for myself to begin, I think I'm gonna pick up Heartstopper Volume 3 because it seems like a very good shift in what I need right now. Honestly, that one also has its sad moments, but it's pretty pictures, and I don't know, Heartstopper, I could also go on forever about how much I freaking love that entire series, and especially the TV show, and I'm gonna go on that rant for a little bit here, okay? Heartstopper is something so pure and innocent to me because it's just such an innocent love and earnest. I don't know, it's just so innocent and it makes everything feel whimsical. Like I would literally sit and like drive or just listen to the soundtrack all the time for like the past week and a half, or honestly for the entire year. I've been listening to like the soundtrack, and not even like the soundtrack of like the songs played in the show, but literally just like the background music, if that makes sense, in certain scenes, because it's just so whimsical, it's so innocent, it's just so pure, and it makes my life feel like romantic. Like I don't know how else, like when people are like I'm romanticizing my life, like sure, but it just adds like such a whimsical feel to every day listening to those songs. And I think it's just so innocent, and it sometimes makes me think about like interactions or experiences I didn't quite have in high school, and it does make me feel like I've missed those things and makes me want to have them. But and it also makes it kind of sad when you think about when you're older, you've just learned so much about the world that it's really hard to get back that childhood innocence in certain relationships. And I think that is why I like Heartstopper so much, is because I kind of get to live like those feelings all over again with those characters. It's just so good, and if you haven't seen Heartstopper, I like cannot recommend it enough. It's just a great thing to know. It's just a great show to watch, to like really learn empathy, understanding, and it's just, I don't know, it's just so good. I love it, and I don't even have enough words to like actually say how much I love it. But now that I hopefully have sold Heartstopper to you, you can watch me read volume 3 now. Also, look at how crazy my concealer looks now that the lighting is exposing me. And I don't know if you guys heard it, but my stomach definitely growled there for a minute, and it was loud. So it is now, I actually just came back from running my errands at Target and Walmart. I started at Walmart because I was looking for stuff for dinner and they didn't have it. They didn't have it at Walmart, which was so annoying, so I had to go to Target. And while I was at Walmart, I looked for Assassin's Blade, and then while I was at Target, I looked for Assassin's Blade, and it was not there. So unfortunately, we will be reading that on, oh, that looks crazy. We will be reading that on my Kindle because I don't think I'm gonna go anywhere tomorrow because you guys, we just talked about this, I know, but I'm only 7 hours in. I'm getting nervous, okay, because I want to do like the full 24 hours. Like I want to read for like a quantity of 24 hours, but the plan originally was to read 24 hours like a day, like, you know, like read the length of a 24-hour day and not read for 24 hours. So I don't know how that is going. I'm also letting the clock run right now because I was in there listening to my audiobook while I was like setting up my dinner, and I actually forgot to turn it back on. So I'm just gonna let it run for a little while, like for I think probably 15 minutes. You know, give myself a little 15-minute break because technically I'm not lying, you know, I'm not cheating. Anyhow, so last time you saw I was reading Heartstopper, and I'm now like, I want to say I only have about a third of the book left, or I don't know, graphic novel, whatever you want to call it, left. So I think while I finish letting my food cook, I'm going to finish reading this because it's super easy, super quick. And then, but I've also been listening to the Red Queen audiobook. I've been listening to this one, and actually I wonder how far along I am in the audiobook. Let's see. Okay, so I look scary. The way I just turned, it was a little bit of a jump scare for me. I'm on page 126, chapter 13 in the audiobook. So I'm going to finish reading Heartstopper, and then once I finish Heartstopper, we'll get more into Red Queen, and I'll actually explain initial thoughts and what the actual book is about. But yes, so we're gonna keep chugging along. I got a bottle of wine, which I really don't think was a good idea because wine makes me so sleepy, but we're gonna keep pushing through. I want to see how much I can get done before I'm just like dead tired, can't keep my eyes open. So yes, it's it's already 10 o'clock. That's the whole point. It's already 10:15 and we're only at 7 hours. So we're struggling a little bit, but it's okay, considering that if I started this at 12:30, I would have been done at 12 if I didn't take a break. But it's totally fine. It's totally fine. It's fine. I'm also gonna wipe off my makeup because, like I said, it's getting late and it looks messy now, and I'm ready to get comfortable, and my sheets are white, so I don't want to get them all over that. But yes, enough rambling. I'm gonna go check on my dinner actually, and then finish Heartstopper and then come back. I know I did like a whole long spiel about The Perks of Being a Wallflower, but I think I'm gonna hold the rest of my reviews for stuff until the end. And I'm thinking, I don't know, like, we start off with a really ambitious TBR here, but I don't know if we're gonna get through a lot of them now to think about it. I do think that I could probably finish Solitaire. Do I even have Solitaire checked out, actually? Now to think about it. Let's see. I actually don't think I have Solitaire checked out anymore at the library, so that may... Oh, actually I do. Okay, cool. And it expires tomorrow, so actually it's kind of perfect that I'm reading this. I'm already 34% of the way through that book, and I think that book was only like 3 hours long to read on the Kindle, so I'm not too worried about reading that one. And I need to check what else I had planned to read because I can't remember. Yeah, I'm rambling now. I'm gonna go get dinner. A crazy time, I know, but it's okay. And we'll catch up later. I've now finished Heartstopper, which I'm very happy about. I was doing like I was using like the laps on the timer to measure like how many books I've read. I say as I've literally finished now 2, but since I've read both of Heartstopper and Red Queen, I can't really do that with the laps anymore. But I think it probably took me about 2 hours to read this, honestly, which I'm a slow reader, so no shame in my game there. It's not very long and it's literally pictures, but I really enjoyed it, and I'll honestly do the talking for this later to save on time so we can keep this ball rolling. I am feeling a little sleepy and it's 11:25, so I think I have some good more time in me. I think if anything I should probably just take a break from reading, but I don't really want to because let's see, I have 8 hours. I'm at 8 hours and 17 minutes, so I don't really want to take a break. If anything, I might listen to my audiobook some more instead of reading, and like, I don't know, maybe I'll clean the kitchen for sure and listen to the audiobook, and I might, I don't know, I need to do something else rather than just reading words on a page because I'm getting sleepy. So I think I might drink some Alani Nu, but I don't really like to. Or I might make a coffee. I think I might want something hot. I think I might do that actually. But yes, so now that I'm moving into Red Queen, I figured I would do a little quick like update. Actually, I won't because my camera's dying. Hold on. We are back. So basically, as I was saying, I'm now moving into Red Queen, which, first of all, we all know I'm very bad at explaining what books are about, so I'm gonna do my best here. Hear me out. But basically what I'm getting the understanding of is that this world is it's set in a world where it's divided between silvers and reds are non-magical people, I guess, and silvers are the superior magical people who are able to bend like different elements of magic, like what they call elemental, which I believe is like fire, you know, the elements. And basically they have a conscription where at the age of I think either 18 you are drafted into this war between the reds and the silvers, and basically the reds are trying to become free from the silvers, from being slaves to them and having to continuously be underneath their rule, because it is a world where the silvers are ruling over the reds. And I believe her name is Mare. Yeah, so Mare's best friend ends up getting conscripted, and so she's trying to figure out a way to get him out of the conscription, and while doing so she accidentally stumbles upon like someone in the royal family, and long story short, she finds herself now a part of like the royalty and like the silvers world when she herself is a red. So it's very interesting, and I will say, and I hope it's not too much of a spoiler, but it is giving Shadow and Bone. Like, it's giving Shadow and Bone a lot. And so it's very interesting how similar the stories are in different aspects, but or in some aspects, and how it's different in others. But I am enjoying it. I have started this book quite a few times a while ago. I think at a different at multiple different points during the year, but with most fantasy books, I find it really hard to get into it within like the first couple of chapters. I find it really hard. I had a really hard time getting into ACOTAR because I didn't enjoy how slow the beginning was. Excuse me. And I've found that a lot of times when I'm struggling with that, it's best if I just find the audiobook and let it be read to me for a while so I can get into the world and like get interested into what's going on and get acquainted. And then usually after that, I'm like really into it and I'm enjoying it. So far I am really enjoying this from what I've heard on the audiobook. And I think there's some really good, there's like a really good possibility for like a love triangle here, which I'm all for. I'm all for a slow burn love triangle. It's my favorite of all the romantasy tropes. So I'm really hoping that that happens, but I'm not even halfway through. I'm probably a good third of the way through right now. And I'm also listening to the audiobook at literally, I think 1.75 speed, because 2 times the speed makes me feel like I'm losing my brain. Oop. Let me check. Yeah, I'm listening to it on 1.75 because, yeah, like I said, listening to things at two times the speed makes me feel like my brain is melting. So, I think, yeah, so the book on audiobook is, I think, about 12 hours. So right now I'm on hour 4:55. So I'm just about 4.5 hours into it, but I'm reading it at 2 times the speed. So my thought process is if, you know, basic math skills here, if it's 12 hours, it'll take me 6 hours to finish. So I think, like I was saying, the next thing I'm gonna do is definitely go clean the kitchen. However, having the kitchen dirty is keeping me from going to sleep. So maybe I'll straighten it up for now, make myself a coffee, and then I'll come back and I'll do some more reading of this one. And then also, I know I said I was gonna read Solitaire and this winter. I actually think I'm gonna save this winter for the winter because now that I'm thinking about it, it's a very opportune time to read that. So I think I'm gonna save that for the winter, and then I'm thinking I'm gonna try to finish this book tonight, and then tomorrow we'll read Solitaire and Assassin's Blade because both of those have about the reading speed on my Kindle says that both of them are going to take about 3.5 hours. My reading speed is probably going to put that around 4.5 for both. So we'll make those tomorrow's efforts. I think that'll be a good intersperse. Is that how you say it? Interspersing, you know, the Alice Oseman books with the fantasy books. And yeah. Okay, enough rambling. Let's get this on a roll again. Also, I have to stop talking about how much I enjoy this cover. And honestly, just how much I enjoy this book. It's just such perfect size. I also just naturally have big hands, but it's just such a nice size. I think a lot of people could take note. I'm pretty sure this would fit into my Uniqlo bag. Anywho, okay, bye. Okay, time for a quick update. It is late, you guys. Can you see that? Yeah, look at that. 1:38. So I'm almost done. I have like, I want to say about 100 pages left. Yeah, I have a little over 100 pages left, so I'm gonna push through and finish this. Now, my thoughts are, usually when I start reading a book on an audiobook, I feel very detached from the story, because I'm not physically reading it, and it's just like literally listening to a story, and it's easy sometimes for me to zone out and then having to like go back and try to remember what was going on. But I don't really think that's an issue here. I don't think that's particularly the issue. What I have a hard time with in a lot of books is not really being able to see the connections between people who are supposed to have romantic interest in each other form. And I feel like that's something that's happening in here, where it's really difficult to see those kind of connections begin to form. And I know I just said that, I'm repeating myself, but like I said, it's 1:40, so bear with me here as I try to explain my thoughts. But I think it's kind of difficult because, I mean, I know I haven't read like a ton of fantasy books, so I don't want to like always be like, Sarah J Maas did this, because like we all know she's not the best fantasy writer out there, but she is the first one I read. And I feel like with those series, it was, I mean, with that series, ACOTAR, the banter between the love interests was just so good. It was just so good, and it was believable, and you could see their chemistry like straight up. And it makes it difficult now to read other books because the banter's not always there. I'm like, what are we seeing in these people? Why are we so... where is this coming from? Like at one point it's kind of like, you're my enemy and now I like you. And it's just, it doesn't make sense how we've gotten from A to B, because a lot of times it feels like we've gone from A to Z and I'm missing a whole lot of the story. So I don't think it's because I've been listening to the audiobook and reading it, and I think it more has to do with it's just not there yet. And I also think that a lot of times the first book suffers in a series because, I mean, not suffers, but it's usually like not the best one in the series because it's the first one and the world is still so new. And of course, as you go on into the series, things start to, I don't know, flesh out a bit more and there's more things to explore. But right now everything kind of seems a little lackluster, if I'm being honest. It feels a little unimportant. So basically, if you plan on reading this book, I'm gonna put a little timestamp somewhere on here where to skip forward to, because I need to spoil so this makes sense. So basically, I'm in the part of the book right now where Mare, who has earlier on in the story, she's discovered that she's a red that has like, basically that means there's red and silvers like I was saying before, but the silvers don't have normal blood. Their blood is silver because they have that magic in them. And I think that's what it's described as, or it's described more as power and not magic, because this is more of a dystopian world and less of like a fantasy, I feel like. Yeah, I think this is more dystopian and less fantasy now to think about it. But they have the silver in their blood, and the reds are red-blooded people, and they're non-powerful people. So basically what I think is going on is Mare, after she's been trying to like save her friend who gets conscripted into going into the war, she ends up joining like this rebellion group, and in order to help save him, she has to like get this big amount of money to pay them to help transfer them out of the city so that way they don't get conscripted together. But she doesn't manage to do that, and then she ends up like, basically it's discovered that she is actually a silver, like she has powers, she has lightning powers, but she's still a red because she's red-blooded. So it's like so rare and unique that this has happened, and they don't really know why it's happened or how it's happened, and she's the first one I think ever, maybe. So in order to not have to kill her and like I guess do more experimenting of how that has happened, she ends up having to be betrothed to one of the crown princes. And while she's like training to understand more of her power and understand more of the new world that she's a part of, it's discovered that the new crown prince, or the youngest prince, is actually a part of the rebellion group. And so they make like this big plot to kill some of the royal court during this big ball, and it goes horribly south. So that's where I'm at right now, basically, is like they've planned to kill 4 people, only 3 of them are actually dead, and then the people that they were conspiring with during the people that are part of the rebellion that they're conspiring with have been caught. And she's also in between like a love triangle with like both of the brothers, which I do enjoy, but I just don't understand. I don't see it. It's like not really, it's just maybe I'm just maybe it's going right over my head and I'm just not understanding how it's there. But I don't know. I just don't know. And I know I did a really bad job explaining this book. And what can I say? It's just the way I act. Look, we're in like the silly goofy hours now. So anywho, time is ticking. I actually also ended up doing that stupid thing again where I paused the timer and then went to go do something, and then I like ended up reading or listening to the audiobook while I was doing that something, and I forgot to turn the timer back on. So I have some time to take a break right now, but I think my time for that break is probably over at this point because this is a 10-minute long clip. I know, it's because I was trying to explain this damn book and I don't know how to. I'm really bad at it. I don't know. Basically my point is I have a little under 120 pages left, and I'm going to push through to finish this. And I think I'm now reading it at, or listening to it at 2 times the speed. I know I literally just said it makes my brain bleed, but I'm doing it and it's not that bad at actually. It's because when I was like reading it while listening to the audiobook, my eyes were getting to words much faster than the actual book was. So I was okay, well, I guess I can handle it. So I turned it up. So right now it says I have 4 hours left in the audiobook, which would lead me to assume I have 2 hours left, which means it's 1:46 now, and I wouldn't finish this book until 4 o'clock. And my coffee, I didn't even put anything in it. I didn't put sugar, I didn't put milk, I didn't put anything in it because I needed it to be black so it could wake me up, which it kind of did, but actually was just nasty. But it's okay. So I really want to sleep really badly. Yeah, sleep is calling my name, especially thinking about how this is supposed to continue. But I'm gonna push through. I'm gonna push through and at least finish this book. I wish I could put it even faster. I think I probably could. Let's look now. Why think when I can now? Let's see. I wonder, I don't know if it goes faster. I know on like Audible it goes faster, but I don't think I can go faster than 2. I can. Okay, we're putting that hoe at 2.5. Pardon my French. Yeah, because I do think F3 speed, then my brain would really like to melt, like it would start bleeding out of my ears at that point. So I don't know, let's see if we can do this. I'm determined, you guys. I'm determined to make this challenge my fill in the blank. Let's keep going. You guys. Wow. The book is getting good, okay? Unfortunately, it didn't happen until literally this little bit left, but my jaw's on the floor. It's actually on the ground. Please ignore the very orange lighting. I don't really have a fix for that. Hold on, I can't hear. Yeah, this just got really good. I freaking knew it, okay? I knew it. I had to whip out the camera so you guys can experience this with me. Let's just say I knew it. My spidey senses just knew it. I knew. So I knew. Also, okay, it's almost 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm pretty sure it is 3 o'clock in the morning. Oh, right on the dot. Can you see that? Okay, 3:01, but whatever. I freaking knew it. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. There was something fishy from the start. I just freaking knew it. That's Anywho, I'm gonna continue, and I just knew it. I knew it in my heart. I knew something was Anywho. We did it. I am so tired, but I did it. Okay, we finished Red Queen, and I have to immediately go to sleep. It's 3:50, so just as I assumed, I finished closer to 4 o'clock. So I can stop the timer. Let's see how far along we are. What if I forgot to even start it, you guys? Okay, I did it. Okay, we're gonna stop this. And we're gonna lap. Okay, I am 11 hours and 47 minutes, okay, into this challenge. And I'm going to sleep, you guys. I have to. I don't have it like I used to. All-nighter was like the thing. I loved doing it in college. I just thought it was so fun, funky, and fresh, but my old bones just can't do it no more. I have no words for this, actually. I have no words for this book quite yet. It's like, of course, it can be expected in literally any, like, dystopian, fantasy, action, whatever you want to call it, book, that the last 100 pages are always the best because, you know, they gotta leave you on a cliffhanger, but gotta tell you, I'm kind of sick of it. I'm kind of sick of them waiting for the last 100 pages for good things to finally happen, but it's totally okay. It's fine. I did enjoy this book, okay? I did enjoy it. I'm not mad at it, and I will continue the series, but we will get more into this at the end of this video. Right now, I just cannot stand to look at myself any longer on this camera, and we're going to bed. Sorry, not sorry. We will continue this in the morning. I will set my alarm so I don't wake up too horribly late, but maybe I could just get like, I don't know, if I could just get like 2 or 3 hours of sleep, like a quick little nap, I could probably get up and finish this, but I just don't know. Like, part of me, because at this point I'm gonna have to read for 12 more hours tomorrow, which is literally my entire day, and I don't have time for that. I really don't have time for that. So I think what we're going to do is just read until 12:30 tomorrow and see what happens. Also because I don't want to burn myself out on reading this week, because like I said, I have the entire week off and I had nothing else planned to do but read, and imagine I got tired of reading the first day. That would be devastating. And I also plan on reading Iron Flame this week, so I really don't need myself getting tired of reading, okay? So that's the goal, that's the plan. I'm going to bed. Bye. Hello, I'm free. We've made it. We are looking much better today. I couldn't even show you myself this morning reading because anywho, so as you saw, our 24 hours for the day is up, and I had to make that hard decision of, this is just going to be the 24 hours. And I don't really think I failed per se. It was more of a first try, we'll do better next time kind of thing. I definitely do think if I do another 24-hour readathon, I'm definitely going to have to do the 12-hour block, because I just definitely do not have it in me to stay up for a full 24-hour, like an all-nighter in me. I don't have it anymore. I really need my sleep. So that will be like what I would do next time. But I am actually very happy about the books that I read and what I got finished during these 24 hours. And I think overall within the 24 hours I read for, let's see, I read for just shy of 14 hours, 5 minutes shy of 14 hours of the 24. So, which is pretty accurate, I think, because, well, actually, I really don't know how that's accurate, because if I read the entire time that I was awake and didn't take any breaks, and I only slept for like 4 hours, I'm really missing like 6 hours here, but but it's okay. That's actually a really good point. Oh no, that's so true. I did take an hour and a half break, so that actually kind of fits. It means I'm still missing like 2 hours of reading time, but it's totally fine. I don't like doing the math. But yeah, so let's do a quick run through and review of all of the books that I got through, which isn't a bunch, but I still think it's good, so it's okay. I already talked about the perks of being a wallflower, but I do just want to like say once again that book has really moved me. I really liked it. I kind of loved it, and I think I'm gonna give it 5 stars. I think it is gonna be a 5-star read because I truly have no qualms about how it was written, the character development, the characters, and just the story overall. I fell in love with, and I don't want to go into it again because I feel like I gave a really good explanation as to why I have the feelings I do about that book earlier on in the vlog. So we all know how I feel about it, and I definitely recommend it to be a read for other people. But like I said before, just definitely make sure you check the content warnings. I don't think it's too much of a spoiler checking them, but it's definitely something worth doing if those are something that you have to worry about or like struggle with. So no shame in your game, check the content warnings. And then afterwards, of course, I went on my little rant again about Heartstopper, but I did end up finishing the 3rd volume of this. And once again, literally had my feet kicking, me swirling my hair. It's so cute. And I think what I love so much about this one in particular is how present Nick is for Charlie and how observant he is of him. And I think that's something that a lot of times goes unnoticed in certain relationships, is how when you've been friends for so long, it's hard to miss some cues and just assume that that's just the way the person is and not to think any red flag of it. But I think it's really nice to see how observant he is and attentive he is to Charlie, and it's just so cute. And I think also the story between Mr. Farouk and Mr. Faraji, I don't really know how to pronounce his name, I'm very sorry. It's also very nice, and it's a good representation, I believe, of the truth of how sometimes it can be difficult coming to terms with yourself later on in age, and that kind of story. So I don't know, I really love this one. Of course, them being in Paris is such a good time and so fun. But yes, volume 3, no spoilers there really, but it is season 2 of Heartstopper, so if you've watched that season, then you know what's going on in this book, and I definitely recommend it. And then the other book that really took me out last night was Red Queen, a surpriser on this TBR list, honestly, a last minute throw in, and it was actually so good. Okay, I know last night I had to marinate on it because when I first was reading it, as we all know, I was having an issue and I wasn't really connecting much with the characters. And I will say I do really enjoy Mare, the main character. I enjoyed the way she carries herself and would speak, and I enjoyed all of her dialogue. It was the connection between her and Maven and Cal that I was having a hard time understanding and getting into and feeling invested in. But towards the end of the book, it picked up dramatically. It did. So I don't know if I ever mentioned, I think I did, this is the first book in the series. It's a 4-book series, so of course I naturally want to go ahead and continue the series, but that series right there is still daunting to me, and I still have the other Crescent City down there to read. So I think I'm going to pause on this one. I'm not going to try to finish it by the end of the year just because I don't have the other books and I'm already in the middle of a series, but this will definitely be a series that I think I'm really interested in continuing, especially with the audiobook. I actually really did enjoy the audiobook. It was pretty good, and I do recommend, like I said before, if you have a hard time getting into books, or especially fantasy books where there's world building and you're meeting new characters and it's just like very unclear how to get into the story, definitely do an audiobook first for like the first half or first couple of chapters for it to get you into it. Because I find like a lot of my issues with fantasy books is that I don't want to read the world building. I really don't want to. I just want to be into the story and already be aware and cognizant of like the character dynamics and relationships, and I find an audiobook really takes out the participation for me in that beginning part of the book, and it makes it easier for me to just get like the Sparks Note version of it, and whenever I do actually end up picking up the book physically and reading it. I don't know if that makes much sense, but it does to me. So that is usually how I navigate a fantasy book that I'm having a hard time getting into. And then lastly, the last book that actually I'm about 42% of the way in now, or 47% of the way in right now, that I was reading this morning is of course Solitaire, and I'm also listening to the audiobook for that as well as I read it, which I really enjoy doing. I think I like love the Libby app so much just because you're able to do like a tandem of both of the audiobook and the physical book of like reading it, and it really helps me get through books a lot faster. It's about Victoria Springs, who is Charlie's sister from Heartstopper, and it's actually where Heartstopper comes from, I believe. I'm pretty sure that Solitaire was written first before Heartstopper. Victoria Spring is the sister of Charlie Spring, and it's basically a story about her trying to navigate this world of trying to become more sociable, really. I guess this whole theme of books today has really been about participating, I guess, which I don't quite plan that way. But yeah, so I was able to make it through 4 books, or I guess 3.5 books, and I'm really proud because it's way more than I read in definitely a month. But I don't think I really enjoy trying to speed through books like that. So like I said, next time I'm going to do a shorter TBR and do a 12 and 12 for 2 days to equal up to the 24 hours. But I hope you liked this video, and if you did, definitely let me know down below, and let me know if it's something that you would ever attempt, or if you're able to do an all-nighter. I'm definitely not, and if you were, what book you would read. I love reading your comments and interacting with everyone, so please give me something to chat with, and I will see you in the next one.